starting. So just so you know, it's all being recorded. Let's just wait one more minute and see if some more people show up. I'm assuming some people will show up during the whole webinar as well. So, all right. So a room full of laser cutters. That's pretty special, right? Standing currently in actually our own shop. That's our Trotec right there, and got a Chinese machine there. There's the material storage, and that's the Roland UV printer. That's our favorite. It just works. And then here's the newest addition. It's Italian laser marking machine. So pretty excited to get that one going. All right, but I think we can get started. Let's see. Oh, hello, Dave. You came back in. So I will share my screen here. Okay, guys, see it?
Yes.
All right. Good. Great. Let's get started. All right. I think I'll do it windowed like this so we can all see. All right. So welcome to the webinar about automating laser cutting business. I see someone else is joining. All right. Well, a little bit about myself. That's me, Frank. I'm laying inside of the Trotec. We did an April Fool's joke. Trotec wasn't too happy about it. They told us they had to put a big disclaimer in our comments about Trotecs. They don't actually do laser eye surgery, but we thought it was fun at least. So yeah, I think so a little bit about our background here. Me and Patrick. I think Patrick's also in the room. We've been running a manufacturing business for it's 8 years now. We do laser engraving, laser marking, cutting, and yeah, we've seen a lot. As I'm sure you guys have as well. We're mostly now focused on industrial markings. Seems to be a pretty good niche to be in. And yeah, then because we saw that when we were running laser CNC design, we had to do a lot of manual work, so we wanted to automate this thing. So we started Smidio, which is a general purpose automation platform, and also Vector Express, which actually does laser cutting specific implementations for Smidio. And yeah, I guess if you guys want to introduce yourself too, don't be shy. And anytime, yeah. So if you have any of you guys want to let us know what you do and what your laser business is focused on, the floor is yours. Otherwise, we can continue. All right. Well, I guess maybe someone said in the chat, right? All right. So we're going to go through, in the beginning, we're going to go through 4 different aspects. So the quoting and confirming orders, and then actually fulfilling the orders, and then finally, of course, getting paid. And these are all four aspects which can be automated in different ways, and we can go over different aspects of them. Of course, we have a bit of a bias since we're doing a laser automation platform ourselves. But yeah, we're going to be talking about different alternatives. And as well, if you guys have any ideas and any thoughts, just chime in anytime. Just let me know if I'm saying something weird or if something doesn't make sense. Or if you have any other automation ideas as well, it's good to share it with the rest of the people here. So, all right, so let's go into quoting. So first, when you get a quote, you can get it through different ways, of course. Email, probably the most common, or you could get it over the phone, of course. People call you, ask about different thing, roughly what does this cost? Can be a bit of a pain sometimes when you have to throw out a price just out of nowhere. Or, of course, through the contact form on the web page, which is, I guess, the most neat way of getting it. And yeah, then when you have the quote request, you got to estimate a price. So, of course, the first thing that comes up is, guesstimation. You've done similar jobs before. You can kind of just go according to that and try to estimate a price based off that. Of course, this might work sometimes if you're doing very similar things, but it's going to lead to some varying profit margins, of course. It's not always that accurate, of course. Of course, then there's also, you could use the machine's supplied software, job control, light burn. You could estimate the machine movement time to get a bit more accurate there. But of course, it's a bit of a pain to get it in there in the right format. You have to, maybe you even have to nest it a bit to get the material usage and everything. So it's a bit of a pain, but it does work. Or, of course, you could use someone else's pricing service. So, for example, Cotter.dk, they have a automatic pricing thing, a portal. Fractory, they have one. Metal laser cutting more, but you can estimate from a DXF and get a price right there. And of course, Ponoko as well. They've been around for a while. You could essentially piggyback off their service and use it for yourself as well. But it's a few extra steps, but it works in a pinch. Or you could go the route of having per sheet fixed pricing. So this is something that some laser cutting companies do. For example, Cut Laser Cut, Laser Cut Studio do it, of course, and many others as well. It's good for you, maybe not as good for your customer. They kind of have to do a lot of work on themselves. They have to nest the material, nest the drawing themselves, get it all in the right format and everything. But then, of course, it's easy to price. You just set a price per sheet, and then they can cut however much they want out of that sheet. So if they only cut a single tiny piece, they're paying for a whole sheet. So it's an easy way to get by, but of course, it's maybe not always the most user-friendly one. Your customers kind of have to do a lot of work by themselves. And then there's our solutions as well. So hope I'm not sounding too sales-pitchy here, but let me show you what we're doing as well. All right, let's go in there. So this is the portal that you get through Vector Express. So this is from the customer's point of view. They go in, you see your logo there, your brand colors and everything. It's kind of like a portal where people go in, kind of like a web shop, really. So if I go into laser cutting, I want to get something cut. First, I pick the material. Say I want acrylic 3mm black. And then I upload a drawing. So let me find my drawings here. Back to Express. And a good one. Yeah, so maybe this Adobe Illustrator file here. It's a simple one, just a square with some holes in it. And then the customer uploads the drawing. It calculates a bit, crunches the numbers on the server, and converts it into an SVG file. And then they'll get a preview of the drawing. So as you guys can see, we have a preview of the drawing, also the measurements, so they can make sure that everything is correct. Pick the cutting, and also if something is engraving, they could pick the color here. And of course, if the drawing was multiple colors, they could pick multiple ones here as well. Just kind of split up the operations there. And then finally, we have the quantities. I want 50 of those. And then I can just finally click calculate price, and then it automatically calculates the price on our backend. And it will be presented with an automatic quote. So $65 for 50 of those small parts. And they could even check out, the material sheet is quite cheap in this case, 6 cents per piece. And then 177 for the cutting. And then some quantity discount as well, because they're ordering 50 pieces. And then they can just add it to a quote. And there it is. And then the price is there and everything, and then they can order it right away. So that's kind of what how we're seeing the future of laser cutting. But of course, that's how it's done in our service. And we can dive a bit deeper into it later. But for now, I guess we could just move on to the next step. But let's now we have kind of a baseline as to how we could quote. And I'd be really interested if you guys have any thoughts, if you'd like to put some input as to how you guys do it. You guys have any special techniques as to how to price these laser cutting jobs, or and if not, we could just get on with the presentation. Gonna check here. All right. Let's get on with it. Yeah, so then I guess the next step would be, when you confirm the order, you got the price and everything, and the customer is happy with the price and they'd like to buy. So of course you want to confirm the order as well to make sure that, hey, we're making it. This is how long it's going to take, and so on. Of course, the most basic one, I guess the most common one is, just send a plain email. Thanks. We'll get started on it. This email is actually of a quote, but yeah, it's you could just send an email, confirming everything. Or you could send an order confirmation PDF, which is definitely more professional. You could use Google Sheets, for example, or a Word template, maybe. You could really go about it in different ways. But of course, yeah, this looks schmick. Looks like you put a lot of time into it. Customer feels, valued. You have a nice PDF and everything. And of course, the last, the best thing to confirm an order, of course, would be somehow a web app checkout that they could just, place the order and everything. You could essentially make your own web app, have some developer make it. But of course, we want to show what we've been working on as well. So I'm just gonna switch over real quick as to how Vector Express works. So here we have the quote here, which is essentially, it's a shopping cart. So if I want, I could add more. Things to the quote here. For example, if I want to buy 2 sets of these, I could add that. Could even give my quote a name, laser cutting project. And then I could even negotiate. If I have some special request, I could click edit and then give some, hey, this part needs to be very accurate or something. And then if I were to click save, you could actually negotiate with the customer as to, you could change the price from your point of view and kind of negotiate a price with the customer. You can go back and forth in the platform, and the customer can also add custom attachments. If they need some special surface treatment or anything, you can kind of build up a custom quote there. But if they're only buying a standard laser cut part, of course, then it's just a matter of, they could just click order, and then it's a web shop checkout. You guys seen it before. Then they can either, if they're a repeat customer, they could click order and invoice. Then you send them an invoice, or they could click order and pay, which I'll try out in this case, and then it'll send me back to a credit card payment gateway. So we could hook up Stripe or something, and then they could just buy it. Well, basically like a checkout, really. You get the order and the money up front. So which is really good for small, simple orders, and yeah, kind of speed things up. So, all right, I canceled the payment there. I don't want to buy a part from myself. And yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, I'd be really happy to answer and discuss. I'm not sure how you guys currently confirm the orders, but we used that CNC design. We at least used to do before we started using, of course, Vector Express for ourselves. We actually just sent emails, really, and it works, but it could look more professional with a PDF or a automatic web shop checkout. But yeah, I guess we can continue. So of course, then the next step would be you got to fulfill the orders too. And at CNC Design, we used to use Google Keep for a really long time, which is a really good and fast and easy solution. You can just make these virtual post-its. It's a bit chaotic, but you can take a photo with your phone, put it up there just as a reminder, and then you can set different colors for this needs to be made, this has been made, this needs to be invoiced, and basically just color code it based on what's the current status of the order. But it can get a bit chaotic and unorganized, but it's really fast and cheap to get up and going. It worked really long time for CNC Design for us. So, of course, then you could use Google Sheets or another spreadsheet. You have good collaboration features. You can share the Google document with other people, employees. They can adjust and change things by themselves. And you could do a similar thing by color coding the columns, or rather the rows, depending on what status an order is. Yeah, so Google Sheets, definitely more organized, good collaboration. It's another good option as well to keep track of orders. Or you could, of course, enter it straight into the invoicing system. If it supports orders, purchase orders, it's probably a bit cumbersome. And it's probably a bit of a pain for smaller orders. But then again, it's the benefit of you can easily translate it to an invoice. Of course, once the purchase order is made, usually the programs have a button, turn into invoice, and then you immediately have an invoice for your customer. It's a pretty good and fast way to get it invoiced, basically, of course. But yeah, it can be a bit cumbersome, especially if you have a lot of orders, small one-off, €50, $50 orders. Yeah, and of course, our solution. This is how we think it should be done. So if I now go into our point of view as the business owner, I can go to my dashboard and check out all my orders. So this is my dashboard. Essentially, it's like a dashboard of a web shop of Shopify or something like that. So if I can see here now, I have one waiting order, and it's the one that we just placed. And it's waiting for payment. That's because I canceled the checkout. But if I now click on that, I can basically just, as an employee, I can look at all my orders that are waiting for fulfillment or are waiting for payment in this case. And I can just basically take the oldest one, make it first, and do the first in, first out principle. Or I just take whichever one suits that time. And then I have my two orders here. So I have my drawing. Can look at a preview here, and I also have access to the original file. So if I download that, I can run it into my CAM software and put it into the machine and start cutting right away. And yeah, and then when it's done, I can just mark it as either shipped or canceled or fulfilled. Maybe I'm done, so let's put it as shipped or fulfilled rather. And now, of course, my customer will get an email. Hey, your order was just fulfilled. Come and pick it up. Or if I just put shipped, hey, they know that it's on the way. And if I check my inbox, I should have an email here. Yeah, your order is now fulfilled. And if I look at the earlier one here, I can also see that I got a receipt. Yeah, it kind of keeps the customer, up to date as to what's going on with their order, and you don't have to message them, hey, your order is done. You could just click a button and then it automatically emails them. So we think it's quite handy. And yeah, you know the drill. Again, if you guys, any guys have any thoughts or questions? How do you guys do it? All right. Well, I'll continue. All right. So of course, fourth step, most important, getting paid. Of course, you want to get paid for what you've done. So of course, invoicing, tried and true. As I mentioned before, it's not that great for small orders. Usually a lot of things you need to enter in invoicing programs. At least here in Finland, I'm not sure how it is in the States. Probably, I would guess it's quite similar. It's a bit of overhead there for small orders. For big repeat ones, it's quite good. You could just copy them. But yeah, it's it's the standard, so it's always the way of doing it. But then, of course, credit card, get your money up front. You have to pay a little bit of a processing fee, but usually it's not that high. It's a few percent. Usually, we feel at least it's worth it because you get the money in hand. Because of course you're buying the material, so you want the money as soon as you can. So you're not laying out with a bunch of money before you actually get paid for you actually manufacturing the part. Then also you could send invoices or payment requests, PayPal or Stripe, which also works quite well. Then people can pay with a credit card as well. But of course, you have to create them manually there too. But usually they have a little bit less of an overhead than standard invoicing programs. So it's usually a good idea to look at those as well. And yeah, our solution, I guess we kind of already saw it. We placed the order and then the user paid with a credit card. It's already paid. You can just do the orders as they are. Or if the customer has, for example, we can have, if I have a customer here, I might not always want to allow them to pay with an invoice. If they're a new customer, I don't really trust that they will pay my invoice. So of course I could disable invoice payment and just have checkout. But if it's a trusted customer, I could just enable the invoice payment right there. And then, of course, they can, instead, they can just pick, I want to pay with an invoice. So then, you could just do the orders, and then you can just take the data straight from here and put it into your invoicing program. Currently, we don't have any automated way of doing this, but we're working on a way to export the data from the order list here, and you could maybe put a CSV file straight into your invoicing program, and then you could have it all automated too. But it's something we're working on, but it's a feature that quite a few people have been asking for, so it might be relevant for us to implement as well. And yeah, so that's kind of how we feel that payment should be done. At least for small orders, credit card payments, it's always going to be king. Yeah. And yeah, what about you guys? I'd really like to know how you usually, if you do invoice people, or if you have some sort of a different system of getting paid. Do you sell through Etsy or something? Be really interesting to hear. Oh, Phil. Okay, so you have PayPal or cash. All right, so you have a cash register at your shop. Like you manually keep track of it all. And Yeah. We've at CNC Designer, our company too. We have been actually using PayPal a few times too, at least internationally. It's easy to just send a PayPal invoice. So yeah, that's a really good way of doing it as well. PayPal, I think, have one of the higher processing fees, but it's of course it's the standard. So okay, Sunshine does the same. Cool. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. That works. I'm assuming then, Phil, you have a lot of people who walk in and they want to get a small sign maybe or something made. Then yeah, it's really good to have some sort of a local payment way there. Actually, we did an interesting thing also when. Okay, cool. Yeah, we did a cool thing actually with our platform too. So if I'm here now as I go back to our page here. So if I well, let me check if it's So if sorry, I was confused there. If I go in as the administrator, as from your guys' point of view. So if you have a customer that comes in, you could also create what we call an offline customer. So you could create one for just the person that comes in. So you could just, of course, you have to get their email. But if I just put test@test.com, testman. So then I can just create what's called an offline account. They could just be one that comes in or over the phone or whatever. And then if I create a call, let's just make an empty one here. Then I can actually order on their behalf. So then I can so if the customer is actually in my shop, you can actually click order and pay, and then it goes to the checkout. So then they can actually go to your computer and enter their credit card info there, and you get paid through the credit card processor. So it's not something we have been able to use or any of our users have been testing yet, but it's a new feature, and we think it might be actually useful in cases like this when people come in and you don't actually have a card terminal at place. They could just use your computer and be on the website. So that's one way you could do it as well. And then they will also get an email. If you get their email when they come in, they'll also get an email with the receipt and everything. So you actually don't even have to give them one or create a receipt. They just get one on email automatically. So it can be quite useful. All right, Dexter. Cash, check, charge card, PayPal, invoice through QuickBook, placed through an e-commerce site. Okay, cool. So how do you sell like pre-made products, or how's the e-commerce site work? I'm assuming, because I know there's a lot of laser companies that actually do sell. They have like a design branch or something where they sell like pre-made products and things like that, design things. At least I've seen a lot of those. We used to have that ourselves too, but we closed it. But okay, cool. All right. Printing as well. All right, that's nice. Oh, very nice. So I have your own product line and everything. Okay. Yeah, it seems to be a very good side hustle for laser companies, at least from everyone that we've been talking to over the years. At least it seems like your laser cutting, bespoke stuff. It brings in some money, but having some product that you make and sell in-house, it can be the main thing that brings in money. We used to have a product like that too ourselves, and during Corona, we actually made protective visors, which were able to get some extra cash in there. And it's nice to be able to sell, a pre-made product. You don't always have to do custom things, so really efficient. All right, cool. So it's nice to see how you guys are getting paid as well. All right. And then, just going a bit into vector files in CAD, how many of you guys have seen this? At least me and Patrick, we've been seeing this quite a bit. And the reaction is usually always, that emoji right there. Yeah, of course, messy vectors, they're always a huge problem. And unfortunately, I don't have a super catch-all solution for you guys right now. I do have some suggestions. Of course, you can run the vector through some conversion programs and try to reconvert them to another program. That usually might help. If they just crash when you open them, it might help to reconvert them to another program. We have our own, sorry, okay, I have closed it. Where did it go? Oh, okay, yeah, so we have our own conversion page as well. It's this URL right here, vector.express/API frontend. You could convert between a few formats. Usually helps to clean up some of the drawings. We're also working on a new version of it, which should be way better as well. And then there's Convertio, which also does the trick. Yeah, bad vector files, duplicate vectors, not joined. It's a massive problem. We have been thinking about actually introducing to our platform a bit of a vector doctor. So when your customer uploads the drawing, they can also at the same time check that every line is joined. And if it's not, the program will complain, and then it will ask them to join it right there in the site. So that's something I think that would be very valuable, at least for us it would be. And I'm assuming for many other people too have this problem with vector files not being good. Of course, if you're making signs and things, you're drawing them yourself, so then it's not as relevant. But yeah, bad vector files, definitely a problem. Nesting, here's just a couple of tips. You could use deepnest.io, maybe you guys have heard it. It's a free nesting software. You could just upload DXF, SVG files into the program, and then automatically nests everything together. And then there's also eCut for CorelDRAW, which actually works quite well. It looks kind of old school and old-fashioned, but it looks like someone's coming in. Hello, Alexandra. Hello. We're getting on with the presentation here, but yeah, just let us know if you have any questions. So I will get right to it. But we were talking about having difficult vector files when having a laser cutting business, and different solutions as to how to work around them, and kind of some solutions you could use. And yeah, as I was saying, eCut for CorelDRAW works really well. They have quite a few signage features as well. So if any of you guys are making signs, it's got a lot of features for that, which is really, really useful. And also, we're working on it for ourselves too. We're planning on, at some point, introducing a nesting modules for Vector Express. So, for example, if your customer buys a bunch of small pieces, when you get to making it, it could be already nested into a sheet of material. So you could just download that and just put the old sheet into the machine, and then it knows what has been cut before, and then you just cut the new parts. So that's something we've been thinking about as well. I think it might be useful for quite a few laser cutting companies. And then we also come to drawing generation, especially if you're making signs, a lot of small signs. For a hotel, you have the door signs or something. You get a massive Excel of just the text that's supposed to be on them. Of course, it's going to be a lot of work to just be copying, pasting, and writing the text on every one in CorelDRAW or Illustrator or whatever you use. CorelDRAW has a pretty good feature called Print Merge. You should Google it. Yeah, it's kind of clunky to use. It's not really made for it, but you can, from a spreadsheet, get data and copy segments of a drawing. Looks like Kevin's joining too. Hello. Hello, Kevin. We're well on the way. We're talking about different issues you might have with a vector drawing. But yeah, if you have any questions, just chime in. All right. So yeah, as I said, yeah, CorelDRAW print merge, a bit clunky, but it works really well once you have it working. At least when even though it's a bit clunky and takes a while to get set up, it saves you in the end. It can save you a lot of hours, just having to sit and manually draw everything. And we're also working on this. We have a prototype working of a module for Vector Express that actually takes a list of texts and enters it into an SVG drawing. So essentially, if you're selling small signs, your customer, they could either just type a bunch of lines of text for the signs, or they could upload a spreadsheet, and then once they buy it, it actually generates the drawing, generates the drawing which are ready to use for you once you actually go to make them. So at least for us ourselves at CNC Design, we're going to have a lot of use for this. I think it's actually quite one of the most useful things actually that we when we get it out there. So, and also if we talk about drawing generation, there are endless opportunities there. There's something called OpenSCAD, which can also just take parameters, and it could also generate drawings based on a parametric drawing. So if you're selling, for example, some boxes or something, people could enter the width and the height and the depth, and then it can generate a drawing immediately from that. And you can just put it in the machine, and then you have the drawings for a box of that size. So yeah, you just got to let your imagination run wild there. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts about vectors? I know at least me and Patrick were quite passionate about it because we've been swearing at CorelDRAW quite a few times. So anything that helps smooth out the vector process, it's always welcome, I think, for us at least. But of course, it all depends on what you guys are doing. If you're making your own drawings, it's not as relevant. But yeah, just chime in the chat, or if you want to talk in the microphones. Yeah, and if you guys don't have any comments on it specifically, yeah, I think it kind of wraps up the webinar. Yeah, thanks guys for joining, and if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything at all, you can reach me here at frank@vector.express, or you could go to the website at vector.express. And if you guys want to try out the features that I showed you guys, you can actually sign up there as well. It's actually free for now, at least for a month. So we have a free trial, and after that, it costs from $19.90 per month. It depends on a bit what features you want enabled, but it starts from $19.90 a month. So, but yeah, I hope it was a bit of a help to some of you guys. We might be doing this more in the future again to see when we might have even more tips. No worries, no worries. Thank you guys. But yeah. Hope you all guys have a good rest. Well, I don't know what time it is everywhere, but I guess in the States it's middle of the day. So hope you have a good day. And over here it's pretty late, so we'll be relaxing for the rest of the night here. So, all right, great one. Yeah, I guess it's pretty late in India too. Yeah. All right. Well, this will also be recorded, so if you guys want to see it, okay, Kevin. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It will be very useful, indeed. Yeah, I mean it's I think it's kind of the future of selling, really. I mean, of course, there's always, you can't take away the human touch of actually talking to your customers and talking on the phone or emailing back and forth, but it's inevitable that things are moving in the direction of everything is more automated and people just kind of want to buy, especially the younger generation. They're really afraid of even picking up the phone, a lot of them. So, well, I'm 26 too, but I don't know if I class as a millennial, but at least that seems to be the general consensus about the millennial generation, that they don't really want to pick up the phone and talk to someone. So if you can then offer a web shop to sell your stuff, oh yeah, yeah, it really it opens up for that market as well. And of course, it's an emerging one. So yeah, kind of web shopifying everything. Everything's to the app. Yeah, I'll stay around for a little bit if there's any questions, but otherwise I think we can wrap it up. This will also be available on YouTube later if you want to rewatch it, and let me know if you want a copy of the slides too. Just email me and I can send them. Oh, you're starting a laser business? Oh, cool. Yeah, just if you have any questions about laser cutting, just shoot me an email. I'll try to help you out. And also, there's really good. I actually posted this on a Facebook group called Laser Cutting and Engraving, and it's one of the most active, I must say, Facebook groups I've seen. It's someone posts something, and immediately they get 5-10 comments or something. It's one of the most helpful groups I think I've ever seen. So if you have any questions, I'd recommend to sign up. It's just search on Facebook for that group, Laser Cutting and Engraving. It's like 30,000 members. Just you can just join. Really, really helpful bunch of people. I see someone's joining. Hey, Vihan Art. Yeah, unfortunately, we the webinar we just finished. We started an hour ago, actually, but yeah, if you have any questions, and this will also be available on YouTube if you want to watch it. If you want to watch it afterwards too. So yeah, and if you have any questions, you could just ask away. But we kind of went through all the different four aspects of running a laser business that you can kind of automate and how different ways you can do it. And we talked a bit about vector files and how you deal with them, the bad ones, how to clean them up. And yeah, the YouTube channel. Let me put the link there. That's YouTube. It's Smidio. Yeah, it's Smidio is kind of the main company. Vector Express is kind of a side branch of Smidio, but we'll put it up there. Oh, hello, Daniel. Yeah, we unfortunately we already wrapped up the presentation, but we're doing a bit of Q&A here, and I also put this will also be available on YouTube afterwards, recording of this webinar, so you can also watch that if you want once it's uploaded. I put the link to our channel in the comment section. But yeah, I think Vihan asked a brief overview. Yeah, I guess I could do a quick recap of everything. I think yeah, let's just do a quick one. All right, so that's gonna go really quick. Laser Express, Vector Express, automate your laser business. My name's Frank. I'm laying here on a Trotec laser cutter. Don't ask me why. Experience in laser cutting about 7 years, 8 years actually, with my brother Patrick. We started Smidjo and Vector Express, which are automation platforms to kind of automate the whole process of selling laser cutting. And yeah, so we kind of went over these 4 aspects, quoting, confirming them, fulfilling, and getting paid. So for first aspect, quoting, first you get the RFQ over mail, phone, contact form, whatever you do. Mail is probably the most common. And then you got to estimate the price, of course. You got to guesstimate it, usually. I think that might be more common than many of these other things. I think it's quite common in the laser cutting industry to do guesstimation, especially for one-off projects. I did this before. It's about $50. But of course, you're going to have very variable profit margins there. Then you could also use the machine-supplied software, job control or Lightburn, things like that. A bit clunky maybe, but it works fine. But you have to, of course, translate your file to make it work well for that, and so you can get it in there and everything. But you can get a pretty accurate time there at least. Or you could use someone else's pricing service, like Cotter or Fracture and Ponoka, and kind of piggyback of what they've built. And just ask for a quote, but then you're just forwarding that price to your client. It's also an option. Or you could sell per sheet fixed pricing, like Cut Laser Cut in UK does, a bunch of other companies as well. Really simple. You just price one sheet at one price, and then you just the customer cuts as much as they want from that sheet, and yeah, really simple. I think. Probably good if you're dealing a lot with designers and things like that, where they actually know really well how to deal with Illustrator and programs like that. Otherwise, it might not be as good of an option. But yeah, it does work too. And then we have our solution. I'll take it all at the end, go really quick through it. And then confirming the orders. Of course, email is the easiest, just sending, hey, thanks for the order, we'll get started on it. It'll take about 2 weeks to make, or something like that. Maybe not the most professional looking, but it works. And then a PDF, you could have, a Google Sheets template, Word template, really professional looking, looks like you spent a lot of time on the customer. But yeah, it might be a lot of work to actually get it made though. So if you're making it manually. And then, of course, web app checkout. So if you have a web app like Cotter or have, of course, you're going to have to get a developer to make it. Huge investment, a lot of time and money, usually, unless you're the developer yourself. And then we have our solutions, which I'll, again, go over in the end. And then you got to fulfill the orders, of course. So what we used to do at CNC Design is that we use Google Keep. Really fast and easy, maybe a bit chaotic, but it's really easy to just punch something in there, take a photo with your phone, whatever, just color code the notes to whatever status the order has, not made, then made, and then, invoiced or something. And then you can just remove them. I'd recommend it as a really simple solution. Google Sheets, a bit more organized. You have some collaboration features. You can color the rows depending on the status. Or you could enter it straight into the invoicing system. It's a bit cumbersome maybe, but it's easy then to convert it into an invoice. But it, of course, requires that the invoicing system actually supports purchase orders. So depends a bit on what you're using. And then, of course, fourth and most important part, actually getting paid. So invoicing, of course, standard. A bit cumbersome for smaller orders, but and of course you're getting paid afterwards. But of course, it's how it's done. You invoice. Of course, credit card is good. Then you can get paid upfront. You have to pay a bit of a processing fee. You could send an invoice through PayPal or something, or you could use Stripe as well. They're usually a bit less cumbersome than regular invoicing programs. So it's also a good option. And then, of course, our solution, which I'll actually show now real quick. So basically, this is what your customer sees when they come in. They have this web shop, right? They want laser cutting. So they click on that, pick the material. I want white 8mm acrylic. And then they upload a drawing. So let's find a good one here. I want to use the same one as last time. Find another one. Let's use a DXF this time. Let me see. This one's good, I think. Yeah, so they can just upload the drawing, any format really, support a lot of them. And then they can just see the drawing here with the measurements and everything. And then they can select what's cutting, what's engraving, and what's scoring, right? So, of course, this is only cutting. So I just select that. That's the only color as well. So I want 20 of those. Let's see what that costs. And then it sends all the data to the backend, which crunches the numbers, estimates the machine's time, and then, 479 bucks. Let me add that to the quote. And yeah, so then I could just basically, yeah, I see that I did a thing here before, but I'll show it later. Let me add it to a new quote for now. So basically, I just added to a new quote. So then I could just order it as it was a web shop. And then if I'm a trusted customer, I could, get it through an invoice, or I could just pay with a credit card immediately. Or if I want to negotiate it, if I have some special request, I could edit here, and then I can add my special request. Hey, it needs to be extremely accurate or something like that. And then I'll get an email, hey, this customer wants to negotiate. I can add some extra costs. And then if they accept it, they can just buy it. And yeah, and then your orders will show up on your dashboard. So this is from your point of view, kind of like a web shop, basically a web shop dashboard. You have your orders, everything. So here I have my orders. Let me see this one that I didn't place that one, but so I put this one. This is the one that I placed earlier today when I was showing the first time. So I have my drawings here. I can see preview and everything. And then I can also download the original file. And yeah, and once it's done, my employee has taken a look at this, created it, shipped it out. I can just select here and go shipped. And then the customer gets an email, hey, it's shipped away. Or hey, come and pick it up, or something like that. And yeah, that's a bit what we think the future is. And yeah, real quick brief of the presentation again. I hope that was a good. Yeah. The software. Yeah, so this is it's Vector Express. It's my company. Actually, we worked it out to solve these problems for ourselves, but now we're actually making it available for other people too. So it's actually available here. I'll put the link in the chat here. So. Yes. Yeah, yes. As Kevin says, of course, yeah, we're really open for suggestions, and if you have any special requests as to what you would need to your business specifically, we might be able to implement it as well, because we're really building it. Well, of course, we want to build it according to our customers' needs, so that's very important. So any special requests, just let us know if it looks interesting to you guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ibihan, it can actually show in hours or minutes how long it takes to cut to, unless you want to show. If you want to show that to the customer, that's just up to you. But yeah. So
maybe you could show some backend configuration with materials and how to set it up a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let me check. All right. So from your point of view, this is the dashboard. So I can example change. If I go to constants here, I could change my cutting cost or the hourly rate. So now I'm charging 100 euros per hour in the machine. I could, for example, hire, just raise it to $200, and then all of the prices change on the quotes immediately. And if I have a table here, I can look at all of my materials. I can add more. So, plywood. And then the price, what it costs per square meter or square feet or whatever, $300, expensive. And then I put the cutting speed. So, what is it? 10 millimeters per second. So then that's used as a base to calculate the actual, cutting time of the piece. So you could really customize. The beauty of the whole Smidio platform, which kind of backs Vector Express, is that it's very flexible. It can kind of be implemented in any way, really. So yeah, I mean, unless there's any more questions, just shoot it in the chat or. Yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining. I guess we're doing a second goodbye here. All right. Good day, good evening, good night, whatever time it is. Yeah. Thank you too, Kevin. Real nice to see you show up. All right. Yep. You too. All right. Bye-bye.